Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. I am Classic 7 YJM, and look who I have. It is Clark from Chillin in the Party, and also from Dungeons and Durags. Super happy to have them here. Excited. Took a while with the time and everything, but
Yeah, that was on me. That was on me.
too, like the whole scheduling thing. I feel like it's like a D&D rite of passage about scheduling. Like, no matter if it's like TTRPG, tabletop, you come together to do a session, or just
Yeah,
regular
it
schedule.
definitely,
I feel like it's
it
like
definitely felt like trying to plan a session with all the knuckleheads that I play with. It's like,
exactly,
I do
exactly.
Saturday. It's like, no, I can do Sunday afternoon. It's like, I can do Sunday morning. No, how about Thursday at 10? Like, no way.
No, no,
No.
that's not gonna work either. And then I'm like, I could do this week, but if I get a head start, maybe I could do next week. I'm not entirely sure, but we are here. We've made it. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much. How have you been?
Oh, I've been great. I've been great. Thank you so much for having me, especially with all of the planning problems we've been having. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm excited. I'm super excited. We're gonna talk about all things nerdy, Dungeons and Dragons and gaming, Assassin's Creed, and a bunch of other stuff that I'm annoyed about.
Oh God, don't get me started about Assassin's Creed. That's still fresh.
Oh, Ghost of
I'm so upset.
Tsushima and all this other stuff, that's been issues. But we'll talk about that in a second. So, what started Children of the Party? Like, where did the idea come from?
Lightning Brown, Terry, he always said, like, because we've all been playing games together for years. I think it's been like 7 or 8 years. And he was saying, like, man, some of these conversations we have, like, inside the group chat are just way too funny to stay inside of the group chat.
Right.
And we talked about it for years and years and years. And I was on baby leave from work because I had just had my daughter.
Oh,
And
congratulations. Oh,
yeah, thank you so much, little Athena. Amazing. Kids are amazing. Have some if you can.
absolutely not.
Um,
No.
hey, when you're ready to have them. But yeah, I had some time on my hands, and I was just like, YouTube everything. Had just YouTube had to start a podcast, and I'm very obsessive when it comes to my hobbies. So
Right.
once the YouTube started, it was all downhill from there.
So, as part of Children in the Party, there is Dungeons and Dragons, which is where I found you. I was kind of confused because I was like, it says Dungeons and Dragons, but the channel says Children in the Party. What is going on? And then when I searched it on YouTube, a whole different person came up. So, tell us about Dungeons and Durags. What did you guys start?
So
How did you guys start streaming it? And like, why is there a whole different person on YouTube?
I have no idea because when I searched it, there was nothing there. Um, Dungeons and Durags was the D&D kind of wing of the podcast because at first I was the only one that was really into tabletop RPGs besides Alex.
Mhm.
Um, so I like slowly like over time was just like, hey, you guys should try this. It's really fun. Like you guys should really try this. And they were like, oh, I don't know. Like I don't know. But before we started the podcast, I had did a Descent to Avernus campaign,
Ooh.
but I had spun it into a Dante's Inferno type thing.
Okay, okay.
Um,
That sounds cool.
so like they were traveling through like the different layers of hell, and they were all like structured kind of like similar to the way of Dante's Inferno, where there was a theme and then there was a boss, and then they go down to the next layer. And they loved it, and they've been hooked ever since. And um, again, it was kind of like Terry's idea, like we should record these. And that was like, all right, I can talk about video games until I'm blue in the face. But like
Right, right.
I'm kind of new to like the D&D TTRPG kind of like community because I only got into it maybe 5 years ago.
Okay, okay.
So I was like, I don't know about that, buddy. I feel like somebody's gonna tear me apart on the internet. Somebody's gonna be like, he's not doing it right. But then
Okay, secret. We all don't do it right. Like, I'll be
yeah,
perfectly honest with you. I feel like with very few exceptions, and even like the big ones, um, have their own little quirks and things. You're like, that's not quite right. So we all don't do it right.
yeah, no, I definitely figured that out because the community has been extremely welcoming. Especially on TikTok, like the comments like back and forth, like
Yeah.
have been super supportive. And yeah, I don't know. I'm hooked now. I'm definitely fine with recording those now. But when we put out the first one, I was like, I don't know about this.
Like I'm not sure. So TTRPGs is a niche thing, but you don't just do TTRPGs. You're not like the other podcasts that I normally like bring on and stuff that's like very TTRPG focused. You also talk about like video games and you talk about uh card games. You talk about all these different things. Um some of the things where I'm like yelling at the screen like I'm on screen with you for some strange reason. Like, why are you saying that? That's not true. So
I
why did you
I
branch
know
out
exactly
so
what you're
much
talking
to
about.
all the gaming community?
That's just it. We didn't really see it as branching out to all of the gaming community. Those are just the things that we like.
Okay, okay.
And I feel like it would be more disingenuous if we did kind of branch out into things that we didn't know what we were talking about.
Hmm.
Because I know me personally, um, there's certain things that I really, really, really enjoy,
Right.
like borderline love.
Hmm.
And I don't want somebody in front of a camera telling telling me things that aren't right about the thing that I'm very passionate about.
Right, right.
Perfect example. Like every time they do a video game movie, not every video game movie, but a lot of the old ones, like Michael Fassbender talking about, I've never played an Assassin's Creed game. You're in a movie. A
What
movie.
do you mean? What do you...
Kevin Hart's never played a Borderlands game, and do you know what the movie showed for it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things like, okay, you're literally part of this movie. Why would you
Yeah,
not play it? Like
it's a hard sell, and I did like the thing that translates more than anything through like especially through social media is somebody's passion for what they're talking about.
yeah,
So you can tell when somebody's heart isn't in it, and
right,
like that's something that we want to convey. Like everything we talk about, we feel passionately about, or it's something that we've been doing for years.
right, right. So look, like I said, I found you all over TikTok. And that's where I came across you guys. I was like, this is so cool. I especially love like the name Dungeons and Durags. I'm like, that's awesome. Oh, and you're also partly kind of on Instagram. You're definitely on YouTube. But how do you see the difference between the two communities, especially TikTok and YouTube? The difference in how they interact with you in chat, and also how they interact with you, like if whenever you're live, quote unquote, or they're listening to a podcast or something.
So when it comes to TikTok is a way more supportive community. I feel like people are a lot more willing to give feedback there. Because I get a lot more messages and a lot more comments on TikTok than I do on YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like the YouTube community is a little bit different because the YouTube community is more willing to follow you wherever you go.
Okay, okay,
Because I've noticed a lot of the TikTok people will hang out for the clips and then they'll just be like, that's fine. But the YouTube people will stretch over to the Instagram, to the TikTok, to the so on and so forth. Because we're also on like Apple and Spotify. So
okay.
I feel like the YouTube community is more willing to branch out because they've kind of found where the home base is.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because like it'll always go there. But the TikTok community is a lot more not like supportive, but they're a lot more enthusiastic with their commentary. And I
Oh
love
yeah.
that. Every time I get a message, I respond to it. And like I'm surprised we get them.
I just recently had the experience of having a video go semi, I guess, viral. It was over 200K views. And then yeah, I
Am I?
boggled, yeah, boggled,
Am I?
boggled my mind. I was just like, what the fuck is happening? But so
Yeah.
all the comments were like, it's a lot of people here. I don't know what to do with this. How do you how do you go through the comments and kind of sort through them without taking it personally?
Um, therapy? No. I don't, at the point we're at right now, we haven't gotten a lot of mean ones. I've gotten a couple well actuallys,
Hmm.
and I understand the well actuallys because it's like, especially when I put out the clip, with me and Alex, it's 2 a.m. When we were like mid session, we kind of had a little back and forth, about artificers, and replicating the items,
Okay.
and it's one of those things where like common sense meets the game rules,
Yes.
and like the amount of things that we play with where I'm just like, listen, I'm not going to make you count arrows. I'm not going to make you count bullets. I love the rule of cool. If it's really cool, we'll work with it and we'll figure it out.
Right.
But like the artificer thing, I was just like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't care what it says. I don't care what it says. You're telling me you can replicate something without having it?
It
What is
doesn't
the
make sense.
definition of replicate?
Yeah.
What is the word replicate means? But we came to a common ground where the thing about it is a lot of people in the comments were pretty much saying the same conclusion we came to, they came to, where they were like, I don't like how this rule is written, but we'll meet you halfway. If you want to make a bag of holding, at least have a bag and some time. It's like, yeah,
Right.
more sense.
Yeah. That makes more sense. So like, that definitely
It makes more sense than just I'm gonna make a bag of holding appear while everyone else is sleeping.
like out of
Yeah,
what? Well, where is it coming from? Like you just can't have a bag of holding that you're gonna make out of thin air. Like how?
especially a bag of holding. It's like you can do a lot of destructive things to the bag of holding.
Exactly. Like things that happen, bad things can happen in bags of holding. This is why I have pockets of holding and like, you know,
They're
you know,
like they're doing like Oprah style, like check under your pillow, you got a bag of holding, you got a bag of holding. It's like I've heard the nightmare stories about these. Oh no,
yeah,
not everybody gets one.
no, no, yeah, nobody gets. So you also in your podcast speak about not only like TTRPGs but also gaming in general. Recently you're talking about consoles.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's do it. Let's do it.
here's how I feel. I am a PC gamer. However, I've always had Xbox. Xbox is the only thing I've ever had in my house. Okay, until my nephew came along and we finally got a PS4 and then eventually PS5. Um,
Yep.
since moved, that PS5 is not turned on. Like what turns on? PC turns on specifically because what the hell is PlayStation doing?
See, that's what
I'm not owning the games. I don't get to own, I don't get to put like, a disc in and be all happy about it. Um, they don't have enough storage. And
100%.
and honestly, aside from the exclusives, PS5 sucks.
I I'm with you, and I like on the last episode we had the same argument, but I find myself having to play devil's advocate
Okay.
because a lot of us are diehard Xbox people.
Mhm.
I'm one of them. Like I said, I play all my multi-plats on Xbox.
Yeah.
Unless it's a PlayStation exclusive, my PlayStation doesn't turn on. It's collected more dust than anything else in my house.
Yes.
It's just what it is. I'm not a fan of the PlayStation interface. I think that the controller was just kind of gimmicky,
Yes.
but it doesn't do a lot for me. But
But
God of War came out and they didn't hear from me for like 3 weeks. It is what it is.
like yeah.
I love my God of War. PlayStation does one thing better than I think anybody else in the industry, which is they make really, really good single player experiences.
Yes. Yes.
And they make really good linear single player experiences.
Okay.
They're all like linear, semi-linear. And by semi-linear, that's what I'm talking about here. Like your God of Wars, is not like an open world; it's a semi-linear
Right.
open world because you can still go off to the side and explore. They make those really, really well. But when those are over after my 30 hours at maximum,
Mhm.
I'm going back to my Xbox.
Exactly.
And the conversation that we were having is why do people go back to the Xbox?
I think because it's a replayability. There's more replayability on the Xbox platform than there is on the PlayStation platform.
I will argue that that's not the reason.
Really?
The reason is your age.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The reason is because Xbox won our generation.
Yes.
Like
right. Yeah.
the Xbox 360, the first Xbox, they completely won out the initial like online gaming
Yeah.
kind of like that jump. So that's why a lot of older people are pretty much saying like, I'm an Xbox fan till the death. Like my Xbox, I've had all my best experiences.
Mhm.
I mean, Halo, come on, like you
Okay.
can't beat that. Halo,
Yeah.
Halo Gears, like Xbox wins when it comes to multiplayer
Yeah.
like experiences. But a lot of those multiplayer experiences are now multiplats.
True. Yep. You're right. You're right. That's true.
Either that or they don't make them anymore.
Mhm.
So if I'm like a 10-year-old kid or higher, like, like if I'm like a middle school, high school kid,
Mhm.
why would I want an Xbox? I don't have that same tie. I don't have that same loyalty. I want to play Spider-Man. Like, I want to play Spider-Man. I want to play Spider-Man. I want to play, I want to play Black Myth Wukong.
Right.
All my friends are playing Black Myth Wukong. And if I'm already on my PlayStation, I might as well play Call of Duty there.
Right.
They got Baldur's Gate 3 first when it came to the consoles.
Yeah, I know. But I was playing on PC, so I was fine.
Of course, but that's a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing.
That's the only PC is different beats. That's the you can't compare PC to console. You just can't.
Yeah. And
Oh.
like a lot of people, like unless you're like a PC parent,
Hmm.
like you're not gonna help your kid build a PC. You don't understand it. A lot of people still don't understand it. So it's easy for me to go to my local store and buy an Xbox, or buy a PlayStation, or buy a Switch.
Right.
So it's like the cost of everything being 500 plus, like you really got to look at like what is my kid going to play on this,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then where are my kids' friends playing their games? And I
Okay.
think a lot of them are playing them on PlayStation.
I think. Do you think that it's going to change now with PlayStation being freaking damn near $700? Um, like 700, like 600 was an ask. 700 is like, um, listen, I have a light bill I gotta pay, and you not getting the next month's the PS6.
But
It's not happening, or whatever.
we did some we did some math, and we pretty much wanted to look at how much it would cost to upgrade from PlayStation 4
Mhm.
to a full PlayStation 5 Pro. And it's the $700 is the starting point because it doesn't come with a vertical stand. That's another $30. The $700 doesn't include tax, so you're really at $750. The $750 plus the 30, we're not going to include the tax on that because probably a couple dollars. So like now, like
Hang on, pause, pause. So you're telling me 699 base
mhm.
stand
No,
$30,
if you look at the bottom of the picture, it says vertical stand not included, and that vertical stand costs $30.
$30 for a vertical stand.
$30.
What storage does it come with?
I think it comes with 2 terabyte. I don't think it's the base 1 terabyte. I think they upgraded the storage and it's 2 terabyte now.
I cannot. This is a
But
problem.
hold on, it gets better because like the conversation we were having before, you want a disk drive. You want to keep your physical media. And a lot of people do because they're taking a lot of games off of services and then you're not able to play them anymore. So a lot of
Right.
people are figuring out that physical media is really, really important.
Mhm.
The disk drive is $80 and they're sold out already. Scalpers bought all of them. So you're not getting it for $80.
So you're not
Let's say
getting
you got lucky. Let's say you got lucky and you got one for $80. We've now passed into like the $900 range. But like if you're upgrading and you don't live alone, you're gonna want an extra controller. They just the price of PS5 controllers just went up by 10%.
Jesus Christ. I'm not. Yeah, you're not getting one. You're not getting one. Like, hold on.
Let's I'm not done yet. Here's where it gets worse.
You're at a grand. How can it possibly be worse?
Because you're gonna stack another grand on top of that. And I'll tell you why. If you have the means in which to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro,
Mhm.
which is crazy nowadays with the price of groceries and everything else.
Right.
If you have the means to buy that,
Mhm.
you're going to want to play it at its maximum like output and efficiency.
Mhm.
And able to get that maximum output and efficiency, the PlayStation 5 Pro does support 8K. Do
Okay.
you have an 8K TV right now?
No.
No. Most people do not because most things don't support 8K yet.
Right.
The only people that bought the early adopter.
Right. Right.
I went online and the cheapest 8K TV I could find, which was on sale, was $1,500. But that, and I wanted to find one that did 8K 120 frames because that's their other selling point, is things running at native 60 or 120 for shooters. So you have now passed the $2,000 marker to upgrade from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 Pro. Do we see a problem yet?
Okay, so Xbox. The fuck? Are you serious right
I'm not joking. I'm dead serious.
now? You have just blown. Like I did not count this
You
because
haven't bought any games yet, too. You haven't bought a game yet.
I could never, ever, 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 ever do that. Like why? Why? So what's the incentive now? What is the incentive to even remotely not only stick with PS with Sony, but get the new console? Because the whole thing, Christmas time's coming, Thanksgiving, the whole holiday season was like fighting to get the new console for the kid or for themselves or whatever, for the boyfriend. Um, you know, what is the point? Like,
Would you like more reflection?
I mean, let's be honest.
What?
Let's be real honest here. No one. Okay, let me back. Let me rephrase this. Not no one. Most reasonable people are not going to.
You sure? Because I know where you're going, and I know that's the same place I arrived. But it's okay. Did you get there?
Most reasonable, educated, working class people are not gonna drop over a grand, over $1,500. I'm gonna give it. I'm not gonna say $2,000. We'll say 1,500. Not gonna drop $1,500 on a console when they already have one in the house.
Yes, yes, but we're not speaking to the reasonable people. The reasonable people are already listening. the un- the unreasonable people are the ones that are like, oh, couldn't see my reflection in this puddle. One, like my lightsaber, the glow showed on everything except for this waterfall. This game is a 2.
Like why is the shadow not shadowing?
The crowd only had 10 people in it. What are we doing, places? Like these are the people that these are the people who are complaining, and the problem is that these are the people who are getting listened to, and maybe we shouldn't.
What?
Maybe not everyone should be listened to.
I don't think everyone should be listened to. And furthermore, honestly, at this point, I'm good. Like I was always on the fence about PlayStation. Always. Like I've never really liked it, never liked the controller, whatever. I mean, there was a point where Xbox kind of like did that weird controller thing, but whatever.
Yeah, they brought it back. They brought it back home. They brought it back home.
They ran it back, so we're good. But how do you justify $1,500?
Um,
You cannot possibly. I know you look, guys, listen to the podcast on YouTube. I'm gonna put the link up in a little bit. But and you guys gave a valiant effort. I listened to that podcast, but you cannot justify $1,500 for a console.
no. I couldn't justify it either. The thing about it is that the this is the main problem, and I'm gonna get on my soapbox here for a second, so bear with me. Um, the problem is that PlayStation won this generation so handedly
Yes.
that now they can dictate the price.
Mm.
And competition is what keeps those prices reasonable, and they have none right now. Nintendo is in their own lane. Nintendo drops whenever they want to drop, and that Switch 2 will come out whenever they want it to, and they don't care about a single person. Xbox has to cater to the Xbox community now, but now they're seeing those numbers increase, not in hardware sales, but when it comes to uh, their software side and their subscription side, especially the subscription side, which even that is at a loss right now.
Right.
So they've had a lot of people getting laid off just because the math isn't mathing
Right.
now over at Xbox. And with PlayStation winning as much as they are,
Mm-hmm.
they now can dictate price because now they dictate the market.
I mean, I see what you're saying. I see where they could dictate the price to an extent, but they're also in they're a corporation. And they're in the corporation hellscape of other corporations where people are like starting to go like, I'm not paying $1,000 for your stuff. Like it's like with Netflix. I'm not paying 750, so you could just put one ad instead of three. We're not doing that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
So like I think Sony maybe misstepping here because like I
Oh,
said,
1,000%.
yeah, people are gonna be like, you're not gonna get me to pay $1,500 for your damn console, but I gotta turn around and pay another $1,500 for the 8K TV that I'm never gonna watch because I watch on my phone.
The big thing that I see is whenever they would do that the mid series shakeup, like your
Mhm.
pros and like your slims and things like that, they always had like what people like to call a killer app, right?
Right,
They had like a new game or a new thing, but they just showed they just did the state of play yesterday,
hmm
and the only thing that they showed was I can't even remember what the name of it. There's like some type of claymation game that I'm probably going to look into. That one looked pretty good. And then the new Ghost of Tsushima. And what else? That new Ghost of Tsushima doesn't come out till probably mid to late next year. What
right,
am I playing on this PlayStation 5 Pro? Why am I turning my PlayStation on anymore? Because I already beat Wukong.
right. And there's no reason to. Like if I have an Xbox, like I said, I have both. Sitting out here collecting dust, but I will turn the Xbox on because I have all these older games I can play. They constantly put out with the Game Pass. They constantly put out games that I've never heard of. That I'm like, oh, that looks cool.
Oh no, I agree. I agree with that. I've
So
I've I've been on a Persona kick for like the last year and a half, just because I've never played them before, and they were on Game Pass, and I was like, a lot of people are saying a lot of good things about Persona 5. People were going crazy when Persona 5 came to Xbox. And I was like, I don't get it. Why would the high schooler like? But I went through school. I don't want to do that. Nah. There's something.
it's something there. There's something there.
There's something there. And
Well,
200 hours later,
200
there's
hours.
something there. There's something there.
Okay, so 30 something hours for God of War. I love God of War. 30 something hours. 200 hours?
200 hours in Persona 5. Yeah,
Bruh.
it's not good. Atlas Games got
Yeah,
they got the loop down.
I'll look it up.
It's Here's the thing. If you look it up,
Mhm.
you might not understand it. But the Persona games do something that a lot of people don't really get. It has like that kind of like that Pokemon effect,
Okay.
where it's just like, here's my loop of things that I'm gonna do. Like you start your day, you go to school,
Mhm.
you figure out what like the mystery that's going on, and then after that you have like your after school times. There's like a relationship meter that gets you like different bonuses and stuff like that. And then you go into like either the mission or like TARDIS, which is like pretty much kind of like this weird like nightmare realm thing where like you get your personas, and the personas are kind of like Pokemon, but they're different. I'm not selling you. I'm not selling me. But like once you play it and you're just like, hold on, this music is a vibe.
Right, right.
The Persona music is a vibe. And like if you listen, fuck lo-fi. This is it. Like this is what I study to.
Yes, this is where I'm at. Like, okay, so question then, is it on PC? Because like I said, if I'm gonna spend
It is.
$2,000, it's gonna be on a PC. Like if I'm gonna spend $1,500, it's gonna be a PC. Like you're gonna learn
Let's
this
be
PC today.
Here's the thing. The other half of that argument that I made, and this is where a lot of people kind of like sat down and they were like, "Oh, good point," which is if you don't have an Xbox now,
hmm
why do you need one?
Okay, okay.
And that's like a question. Why do you sell me on an Xbox?
Look, the Game Pass alone could be like, but that's one.
Oh,
Two, the price point is not as high as Sony. If I'm gonna get a PC, unfortunately, um, a stock out of the box PC is not gonna do it. I'm gonna have to do custom, at least some custom things. So that's gonna cost
okay.
them more money on top of it. An Xbox, I can pull out the box, plug it in. Yes, it's gonna do a couple updates, but you know, once the updates are done, I can start playing. Whereas PS5 is a different story. you know,
Well, yeah, of course.
you know.
So here's the thing. You've given me two reasons, and they're two good reasons, but the problem is Xbox has now shot themselves in the when it
Okay.
comes to hardware sales.
Yes.
Because you said the Game Pass.
Yes.
You can play the Game Pass wherever you're at right now. You
That's
don't even need a computer. You can play Game Pass on a TV now or an Amazon Fire Stick.
right.
That reason is gone. Now you have one reason left, the price point. That first reason took out that one because what price point is better than $12? Because it's only $12 on PC.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's also the actual of feel of having a controller in your hand. Like I said, I love PC, but sitting down in your bedroom or your living room with that controller and going like this for hours on end can't be beat. Don't care what anyone says.
No, I do it every day.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100%. I do it every day. Well, not every day, most days. I mean, I have a kid now. It's a little bit different.
Right.
But no, I'm with you, and I'm bringing this up kind of as like Xbox. Let's do better as a collective because I'm on your team and you're hurting me right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I feel like I'm like a Bears fan if we're talking about football. We're like, yeah, or no, I feel like a Dolphins fan. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
The Dolphins were really, really good back in like 1997.
Yes, yes.
But now, why are
Now,
we still here?
now they're
Why are we
not.
still, what are we doing?
Now they're
Yeah,
not.
what are we doing? We haven't sniffed a playoff in a while. So like I'm a lifelong Xbox fan. I probably will be because like I still love all my Xbox ones. But objectively,
Mhm.
like when my daughter's old enough to play video games, if I don't build her a PC, I if with the trajectory that they're on right now, it's probably going to be a PlayStation because all of her friends are gonna have one.
I don't know if our friends gonna have one at $1,500.
Well, no, not at $1,500. Hopefully, the market tips itself back to where it's supposed to be.
Right.
Because like Xbox does have a lot of really good exclusives coming down the pipeline,
Mhm.
and some of those aren't really exclusive. They're like timed exclusive, like Indiana Jones.
Right.
A lot of people are really upset about that. And like, there's rumors about them bringing more of their exclusives over to PlayStation because they're kind of trying to get those PlayStation people to really be like, oh, look, so you can play it on your TV. Like,
Right.
but like, that's not that's not selling a box. Like it's like I love the feeling of having a console,
Right.
but like it's just it's hard for me to be a reasonable person or and be like, oh yeah, buy an Xbox right now. Like
Right.
buy an Xbox next year, 100%
Right. But not now.
with Fable, Gears,
Can't wait.
Doom,
Mhm.
what is it? South of Midnight. I think that's the name of it. There's a bunch of heat coming next year. Avowed, which I'm really upset about Avowed because
Why?
Obsidian is too good to push a game back for no reason.
Yeah. Okay. I see you.
They didn't say that the game wasn't ready. They didn't say that the game had problems. They just said it's too crowded right there. We're going to push it back till February. Obsidian's too good for that. Other games should be moving around Obsidian.
Right. They shouldn't be moving around for anybody else.
No. And when this announcement came out, I said, if your idea was to duck other games, you're going to figure out that February gets crowded
Mhm.
really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And guess what else just got pushed back till February? Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Okay. For the people who are new to my chat, I am a massive Assassin's Creed fan. Massive. I play every single one. Every single one, including Black Flag, which I hate. I can't stand it.
Hey,
Can't
that's
stand it.
that's a high point.
A lot of
I
people
love that one.
a lot of people love it. Can't stand it. Oh, it drives me crazy. It drives me absolutely bonkers. I feel like they did a better job. I feel like by adding the ship component in Odyssey, they did a better job.
Oh no, I love it.
Yeah,
The
honestly,
green technology is my bag.
yes,
That's my bag. I love that.
way better. But I will say this: why are you messing with my timeline? I ain't got a timeline. I'm like, I know, like the last one came out. It was great. It was all right. Okay, we
Is
good.
it Mirage?
Mirage is okay. Yeah,
Oh no, no, mm-mm.
it was great. It was okay.
Mirage was a PlayStation Vita game at most. It was a mobile game. It was Mirage was not a, for them to make it an Assassin's Creed title. They should have just added it as a DLC on Valhalla. The fact
Yeah,
that they thought that that could stand on its own, it doesn't. It does not.
it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't stand on its own, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Bad. You know.
I do the phone test when it comes to any type of like media
Mhm.
where it's like how many times have I looked at my phone while I'm doing whatever activity this is, whether I'm playing a video game, whether I'm watching anime or a movie.
Mhm.
If something's really good, I don't touch my phone.
Okay. How many times? How many times did you touch your phone?
I had a podcast running in the background. I was checking my calendar. I was taking stuff on my off my phone
Wow.
during cutscene.
Wow. Really?
Oh, I couldn't find a fuck to give.
It's just one person. I played it on stream, like the that, like I didn't have anything planned. World of I was like,
You played it on stream?
yeah, I played it on stream. I mean,
Did you guys have a group nap?
I mean, look, a lot of the entertainment was me screaming at the stream.
Oh,
Me going, "What is that there?" That was a lot of entertainment.
also the combat was like a step back, and they
Yeah,
said that they wanted to bring the combat back to like kind of like an Assassin's Creed 2,
yeah.
and like I love Assassin's Creed 2, but we're not going back.
But like, why are we going back there? Yeah, I didn't like the combat. I felt it felt weird. It felt weirdly like stilted and like
Yeah,
you're like, oh my God. That's what it felt like to me. You know?
it it felt like wait to parry
Yeah.
and just it was like okay, like Assassin's Creed 2, you could win every fight if you just wait to parry.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like,
But like, why would I want to go back to that? That was good for the time. I love Assassin's Creed
right.
2. That was my favorite. No, yes, that is my favorite one.
Mhm, mhm.
It is because Odyssey is a real close second. Really close
I
second.
will play Odyssey till the cows come out. I'll keep playing Odyssey.
That's a 200
It's
hour.
not goated. Black Flag sucks. Black Flag irritates me. That was one of the most irritating games. It drove me. I died so much. And I think that's where it's coming from.
Oh, I listen. If there's a hill I'm gonna die on with Assassin's Creed games that people loved, I'm not gonna say Flag. I'll say three.
Three.
I'll say three. The worst protagonist in Assassin's Creed history
Mhm.
is Connor.
Yeah,
Period.
agreed.
He's the worst
Of course,
protagonist.
yes, he is.
The time period doesn't do anything for me either, especially because like what? Yeah, like I want to run around and just go, oh yeah, when are these the good old days they were talking about?
I'm not. It's because this is not good old days. This like I did not like Connor. I was not a fan of Connor. Like I did not like that. But
Also, objectively, he was a coward. I'll say it. He had the
okay,
worst character.
yeah, agree.
Objectively, he stood on the sidelines the most. He did interfere the most.
Right, but he also had this weird like he had this weird
Very, very turncoatish.
yeah,
Kind of like
yes, that's what it was.
I'm actively working against my own people. I feel that.
Like, dude, like, come on. Like, I was like, oh, why are you like a part of the freaking assassin? I don't understand why you're part of the assassins. Like, I feel like you belong with the Templars. I don't understand why you're here. Like, that's how I felt the entire. Like, why are you here? You know?
Yeah, three was a low point for me. Black Flag, I will say, I don't think it was. I think that for the time, it did a lot that was really ambitious.
Right. Okay. I'll give you
And
that.
I think that I can't remember what his name was. That's gonna kill me. But yeah, my whole argument goes out the window if I can't remember what the first.
So,
Black Flag's
Edward
not
Kenway.
it's
It's
not
just
yeah,
Edward Kenway.
Edward Kenway. Um, I feel like he's a much more likable character, and it gets you your like kind of um like your pirate fantasy, like your Jack Sparrow type feel.
Right.
But
I feel like Odyssey
it's
is
not
better.
it, it's not in my top three,
Okay, okay.
but
Yeah.
it's definitely not in my top three. I mean, you're telling me that it's better than Origins? No, it's not better than Odyssey. It's not better than two. It's not even better than Revelations
No,
because that was the end of Altair's story.
right.
So like, no, no,
Look,
not Ezio's story.
Ezio's story. Oh, look, look, my top three are right now. Odyssey is at the top. I love Odyssey.
Yes,
You cannot tell me anything about like Odyssey. I love Odyssey. Um,
no, Odyssey is amazing.
Syndicate is maybe two or three.
What?
Yeah, I love Syndicate. People think I'm weird, but I love the Jacob and the Evie. I love them. I don't know why. I think Syndicate.
We were here, right? Like we were going down the road to get. You took a hard.
And
Everybody
then
loves Syndicate.
there's something about Evie and her. I just love them. I don't know. It's something about them. And then I will go with Unity or Creed Origins. The one of those two.
Huh?
Unity is Arno.
I know what Unity is. If that one wasn't good,
It was okay. It wasn't good because of it was just not. It was just poorly made. But I like the story. Like they, if they fixed it, I think it would be better. That's my opinion.
I think
So,
the parkour was the best part of Unity.
I love
But
Unity.
I think Unity was also the one where they tried to do the multiplayer thing, and that just completely cooked it for me.
Really,
Yeah, when they tried to do like, oh,
yeah,
you and your friends can be assassins together, and it just didn't work.
it never did.
Nothing about the game worked. The parkour was cool, but then all of a sudden you clip through the floor and you fall forever.
Well, that's what I was saying. I feel like they fixed it. It would be better. That's what I feel like. Um, but
Not every game gets a cyberpunk happy ending.
yeah,
You got to get it right the first time.
agreed, absolutely. But and I think tied for you between Unity is Bayek, the one with this Origin.
Yes, Origin.
Yeah,
Oh, I love Origin.
love the Origin.
I love the DLC for Origin. When he went to the underworld, perfect.
Oh, it was
Oh
so
my
good.
God, I love
It
it.
was so good. Yeah.
It was
So
everything about Origins I love. Origins takes my number two spot.
okay, okay. But
So
Black
for
Panther.
me, for me, it's Odyssey Origins 2.
Okay,
And
okay.
and 2 just had the best story out of any Assassin's Creed that they've ever told. Ezio is the best protagonist in the
Yes,
series.
yes, yes.
Like
It's terrific.
the way that they went through his entire life was amazing. Like it just he got 3 games for a reason. Like he's that good.
He's that good. And also every game has a callback to him. Every game has like either his outfit or something where there's a callback to him. So like that alone tells you that amazing, you know. So but you look, I could go on for hours about freaking Assassin's Creed and we will never get anywhere so we're talking about Assassin's Creed all damn night. So
Oh no, I definitely could. I definitely, especially where they're going story wise. I don't know. It's fine.
so
It's a we can move on.
okay, so look, okay, one more thing before we go story wise, because it ties in a little bit to Ghost of Tsushima and it ties in to a bunch of other things. But
You want to get angry about shadows? We can get angry about shadows.
yes, I'm already annoyed about Shadows because there's so many people, which kind of ties into what I want to say next, is that um, what do you think about people that seem to pretend that there are no issues when it comes to Black people and people of color, and not only the TTRPG space, but in gaming? Perfect example is like we said, Shadows. People are like, you know, can't be a black samurai, or uh, Anana is in black, you know,
Oh God,
So
how how
what do
many
you?
minutes in are we? Can I crash out now?
We're good. We're only 47 minutes in. We got a whole hour and a half. As long as we...
All right, let's crash out. No, 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 no. I don't fuck with that shit at all. I think that there's a lot of people who don't play games, but they talk about games. There's a lot of people who take a lot of their other beliefs and they try to force them into game.
Yep.
I don't that shit at all. Um, it's those same people that are like, oh yeah, no way, can't be a black samurai. It's like, Have you not seen Afro Samurai? Have you not seen the Yasuke anime that they did on Netflix? Like, Mans was a real
He's a
person.
real person. Thank you. Thank you. He's a real life person.
And like, there was a point when the trailer came out, and like, I was like, "Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is great. This is everything I wanted." But but in the back of my head, I'm just like, I wonder. It's gonna be a coin flip who they're more mad at. One, that there's a woman, or two, that there's a black guy. And I'm just like, oh man, which one am I gonna pick? Niggas.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. They went in on Yuxie all last year, all this past year. Now I don't know why they haven't picked up on it until now that there's a woman, but all of a sudden now the discourse has popped back up on TikTok, partly a little bit on Instagram, and they're flipping out because there's a woman in it. Like if there was a woman in it earlier this year, what are you talking about? Like
I don't get how like there's a lot of people that don't want to play as a woman protagonist in a game, and that's the thing I don't get. It's like, how long have you played as a straight white dude? Like I like you can only beat home that story so many times.
right.
Like, you need a different perspective. And even like in anime and movies and other things, like some of the women protagonist stories have been the best. Like Blue Eyed Samurai is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yes. My God,
It's incredible.
yeah. Oh my God,
So
what about that?
so the fact that you're just like, I only acknowledge stories if it's straight white protagonists, like,
Assassin's Creed, Odyssey, the canon character was
right.
the best character. Like, yes, they had the male counterpart to it, but her character alone was,
Cassandra was the one that you were supposed to play.
yeah,
Period. It was. And a lot of people were like arguing. It's like, no, it's not. Like, you were supposed to play as Cassandra.
right.
She had way better voice acting. A lot of people say that for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
That female V was the one that you're supposed to play as. That one, I'll go 50-50. But
I've been a big, as much as I love Cyberpunk, the tabletop game, Cyberpunk, the video game, kind of irritates me a little bit. Yeah. I like it. I like playing it. It just, there's some things that just irritate me. Just some of the mechanics drive me
play it.
bonkers.
When did you play it?
I played it when it first popped up, when it first came out. Played it for a while, got super frustrated after about like 3 hours. It's like, okay, I'm done. It's like screen to screen for about 2 hours of that 2.5 hours. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get a migraine if I keep this on. So, and I've not turned it back on since. Now, to be fair, I can't give it a fair shot because I have not turned it back on since.
I will say that the argument is you have to get it right the first time.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it when I first played it, and I played through the entire thing.
Okay. Okay.
Just because that's just kind of the person I am. I'm very stubborn when it comes to like video games, especially if I buy them. Game Pass has allowed me the luxury of saying, I don't like this, I'll put it down.
Right.
I didn't pay for it.
Right.
But if I paid for it, I'm like, I need the experience that you made me pay for. I'm not saying I do that with every game, but Cyberpunk was like salvageable when it first came out,
Okay.
especially because I played it on a series. I didn't play it on the original Xbox or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Those were dark days for them.
Right.
But if you watched the anime, the Cyberpunk anime,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way you didn't go back and replay the game. The anime was like, I want to live in this. Oh yeah, I can go play the game.
Like, oh yeah, I can go play the game. Okay, I feel it. I see it. Okay, I see you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, it's always been weird and strange when discourse behind characters that are not only historically correct, um, cause such a visceral reaction, but also, why do you care what I do? Like, I don't understand.
It's 10 people, but those 10 people are really loud.
Right.
It's like the reasonable people amongst us all are not the ones who are complaining about diversity in video games.
Right. Right.
We are not the audience for that. The people that are doing it for one of two reasons. A, they're ignorant people.
Mm-hmm.
Or B, they're using it for clicks.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I think that there's a lot of ingenuous people in the gaming industry that really don't belong there.
Okay. Agreed.
I think that there's a lot of people who are saying kind of like the most visceral things because they want that click reaction, and then they're finding community within that.
Okay.
Like it's like it's like video game Alex Joneses,
Right. Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
where like if you keep saying the thing, eventually you'll find somebody that agrees with you,
Mhm.
but you probably shouldn't because those
You
are
should just stop saying that thing because you sound like an idiot. You know?
yeah, you sound ridiculous. And then the Ghost of Tsushima thing, I'm a big Dimension 20 fan. So Erika Ishii being the main protagonist, I'm sold.
Right.
I love Ghost of Tsushima 1, but Erika Ishii and getting another Ghost of Tsushima, I'm sold. Like,
Done. Done.
I'm
Got
here
two
for it.
things.
I'm here for it. But I'm kind of when she got announced for that,
Mhm.
I did get a little bit worried just because I follow her a lot on social media,
Mhm.
and all of the same people that are complaining in the Assassin's Creed Shadows
Mhm.
comments are jumping right to hers, and I don't think she deserved it.
Right. Well, that was the same issue that they had with the Star Wars franchise.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
1 out of 10, too many women.
Right. Like, okay, you're bizarre. Next question I would like to ask you is chilling in the party. Like you guys
Yeah.
do TTRPGs, uh you talk about consoles and games and anime and all these different things. Um, do you plan on expanding it into something more cohesive and succinct, like an actual like show for YouTube, or is this still gonna remain a casual thing?
So for right now, we're kind of playing it by ear because the podcast format really lends it to we're going to talk about whatever has the most news attached to it.
Hmm.
Sometimes we're really anime heavy, sometimes we're really video games heavy, and then when there's not either one, we can just do two D&D sessions in a row.
Right, right.
So I feel like the structure that we have now for it really lends it to a lot of freedom, and then on top of that, it we also get to like sometimes well like with people's schedules and everything like we really can't catch things as soon as they come out like it's just we just can't so sometimes we can catch up on the news, sometimes there is no news. So I would love a show format, I really would. And when we first discussed it, we did break it down into show format,
Okay.
and everybody was going to have their own segment. And like it's 2 a.m. aka Alex, he was going to have the anime section because he's our anime guy. He
Right.
just is. He watches everything. He's the one who puts us on everything. I was going to have the video game news section. Um, NYC Girl was going to have the pop culture section, and then we were going to give Lightning Brown. He was going to do his Freaky Fridays, or I think we were going to call it Lightning After Dark. But we did
Just
discuss
all you guys on here, like the
Light,
dynamic is so fun.
Lightning Brown is the show's personality. I promise you, it's not me. It's not me. I'm the one pressing the buttons. Lightning Brown is the comedic relief. He brings all of the faces. I'm telling you, he is a star. He is.
Yeah. His
The rest of us,
his facial reactions is like 100% like comedy gold because a lot of times if you just look at his face when something is being said that not quite he doesn't either quite agree with or it seems sideways to him, the
he
reaction,
also gives a like he is the best quotes.
yeah. So you guys knew each other as a friend group. How did you guys come together?
So me and Alex were in the military together. We were both in the Navy.
Mhm.
We met when we were both serving in Japan,
Okay.
uh, probably 2016, 2017.
Hmm.
Met everyone else through him through Xbox. But me and Alex go way back. Like
Okay.
that's like we're not blood related, but that is my brother, like 100%. And like everyone else in the party, I talk to them enough that they might as well be considered family too. Like there's not a day that goes by. that I don't talk to at least one of them in the group chat. It's just a thing.
Right. Right.
Like that is my community.
Right.
100%.
Oh, oh my, whoa. Thank you so much, Cookie Monster. You know what, Steve? Steve does this thing where he attempts to make me cry as much as he possibly can on this stream. And we have a hype train going at level 2. Thank you so much, Steve, for all the gift. What the heck did you do?
That is a lot. I have like a side screen. Jeez.
Oh my gosh. Uh, thank you. Everybody's got it. Like everybody, you got one. You got one. It usually
Oh,
works.
oh, nice.
Oh, New York City girl got one too. Okay, B-Town. B-Town got one. Yay. Thank you so much,
Um,
Steve. I gotta
and
buy you.
NYC girl, she is our main streamer when
Mhm.
it comes to chilling in the party. Like if anyone's streaming, it's definitely her. And the rest of us are normally in the party with her, but she's definitely like the streaming arm of us.
Okay, okay. So she streams here on Twitch.
She streams here on Twitch. I'm not sure if she's still doing, but she had a really, really funny Sims series where she was doing, because she has a bunch of mods in Sims.
Hmm.
And she did, I think she called it like Club Galaxy, where she had a strip club in Sims. Hysterical.
Pause. um,
Dead serious. You can't, like, it's,
um, if you're still here, um, you need to pop your stream in the chat so I can like give you a shout out because we need to find this. We need to find this lodge. I
bring,
need a
bring
strip
Club
club.
Galaxy back.
I need to find this strip club. You know, this needs to happen. And yeah, because what do you mean there's a strip club in The Sims? Like I
She
don't
has
understand.
all of the Sims mods. She has all of them running simultaneously. I've never seen some of these things before. Like, the,
That's
the,
amazing.
like she'll give me like kind of like the kind of like the backstory because sometimes I can't catch the stream, but it's literally like catching up with a soap opera. She's like, yeah, one of the teens is pregnant by some guy at the school, and then she just told her mom, and then apparently the mom threw the guy in a trash can. I'm like, this is him.
Did The Sims the non-language like making people do things Sims.
Yes, yes, she swears it's Sims. I don't know, and like the amount of mods that she has on it, it's something else completely.
Uh, uh, yes, there's a real strip club. Yes, The Sims. I'm so now fascinated. We need to find. I want to be popping into your stream and find out. Also, we need to get you on here because we need to talk about this. Um, so Dungeons and Durags. I know that you said that you were originally like the person who was in the D&D, and you convinced the rest of your group to do this. Um, when that first session, that first time when you guys are like, we are playing, this is session 0, and this is our first time. What was it like, and what was the reception like for everyone at the table?
Um, are you talking about for the campaign that we're on now or the first one?
The very first one. We'll talk about the campaign you're on now. The second,
So,
that one is fun.
so the very first one ever, I was like, all right, guys, bear with me here. You try this out. It's actually really, really fun.
Hmm.
And it was kind of like, I don't know, like, how long is this going to be? Like, I don't like, I've never done anything like that before.
Hmm.
So I was just like, all right, bear with me here. I got a really cool idea for the story. We'll get into it, and then we'll just go from. And they were like, okay. The one of the big staying points for them was that I helped them make their characters, and I think I started them. I like to start characters around like level 5 because then you can get like a little bit of personality, a little bit of like
Yes.
you have an idea of where you're going. Like starting a character at level 1 is kind of rough because you're like still deciding what they're going to be. Like you don't know where you're going to roadmap them to.
Yeah.
It story to a level 1 character anyway.
Weird. Also, your cannon fodder. You know.
Yeah, you're getting blasted out of there pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I think I started them around level 5, and I I didn't bring combat in until maybe like halfway through like the second session
Okay. Okay.
because I wanted them to like really live in the world for a little bit.
Mhm.
Kind of because I did like the whole like Dante's Inferno intro.
Right.
You wake up in the forest, it's dark, everything has like an opaque feeling of gray. You look up in the sky, you see giant bolts of red lightning, you hear the barking of wolves. it's a very like kind of like bleak setting, and it's also no, we didn't record this one. No, no, no. This was our first home game, and I really wish we would have recorded it because it was really, really, really good. Because it's something I like to base my campaigns off of things that I love,
Right.
and Dante's Inferno is one of my favorite stories. So that's something that I didn't have to come up with a lot of it. Like I could really riff off of like the setting in Dante's Inferno altogether.
Okay.
So it like sometimes I didn't have to go into it with sessions planned. I was just like, I know exactly where we are.
Okay.
Where
You're like, I know the story.
yeah, and like seeing them session by session kind of learn how to role play, really get into their characters, really grow attachment to their characters so that when their characters were in danger, they really felt it.
Right.
And that was the reward for me. I was just like they're getting it, like it's sticking, like they're starting to think as their characters. And at the end of that campaign,
Mm.
um, I did I did something that I thought wasn't going to work because I didn't know how strong their attachment was to
Right.
their character. Where by the end of it, everyone had acquired some type of like corruption in one way or another.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so by the end of it, uh, they had to decide if they were going to return back to their worlds as they were, taking that corruption with them, or if they were going to stay and kind of become lieutenants to like Asmodeus and take their own circles. Because while they were going through Avernus, they were taking out these Dukes of Hell. Now there's a power vacuum.
You didn't record this? Okay. You know what? So last week I had Shay from Historically Black Dice on. And
Oh my God, I like
the
them.
problem.
It
Full story. Now, don't get me wrong. He did me a solid and sent me the recording, like voice recording, which is great. But same problem. Why are y'all not recording this?
this was the first time that they had played, and this is the first time that I had DM'd for them,
Mhm.
and it just wasn't the idea yet. We didn't even have a podcast yet, so it just wasn't. It was very. The problem is, it was also very cinematic too, and it was very. By the end of it, Terry's character had gone full evil. He had the eye and hand of Vecna.
Oh
Um,
my god.
because of the length of the campaign, it was only meant to be like 10 to 15 sessions anyway. I was just kind of like, give them the stuff. If it's in a best, you can find a way to get it. And it there's still grudges to this day for how that story went because like all right, let me break it down. So the entire because I can talk about it now because it never was recorded. So the entire time, their spiritual guide was this guy that I named the Angel Virgil.
Mhm.
He was Asmodeus in disguise the entire time. So Asmodeus was leading them through Avernus,
Mhm.
and pretty much they were taking out the Dukes of Hell, but they were taking out people that sorry, I can't remember what her name is. Uh Zariel, people that
Yeah.
Zariel had put into power in
Mhm.
Hell. So they were pretty much doing the cleanup work because Zariel, the entire backstory was that Zariel was kind of putting people in position so that one day she could unseat Asmodeus
Right.
and take over Avernus completely. So they were being guided through Hell on what they thought was a quest to get their souls back. But really, they were just cleaning up house and getting rid of anybody that Zariel had put in power. So by the end of it, they had taken out Zariel and they had all acquired some sort of corruption, or maybe they found some sort of like angelic item. Because Alex's character had actually gotten the sword of Zariel, which pretty much made him an angel. And by the end of it, everybody was presented a mirror that would allow them to go home.
Right.
And pretty much the thing that the most obvious thing to do would be listen, you guys can't go back. You have weapons of mass destruction attached.
You have to stay down here now.
And Terry had made it very known that if he made it back, it's World War Terry. He's taking over. So Alex's character being an angel now is like, I can't let that happen. So he destroyed Terry's mirror. And then uh, there were some grudges that got developed on the way up there too. So I think Tiffany's character and King's character had gotten into it about something. So they were already going to kill each other, given the opportunity. So Terry ended up going through Alex's portal and just started decimating his homeworld. And then Alex had to go take him out and like this kind of like huge dramatic ending. And then it turned and then King went through his portal and Tiff ended up getting she got the armor for the Raven Queen. So she pretty much became like a pseudo Grim Reaper in that moment. So she was like, the Raven Queen was like, things are out of balance. He doesn't belong in this world anymore. So go take him out. So then she went on like a Hitman style mission to take him out.
All right, new rule, people. Listen, new rule. Looking at dead at the camera. New rule. If you are starting a campaign, I don't care if you've never played D&D before. If you are starting a campaign, I'm looking dead at the camera right now. Record it. I don't care if it's a voice recording. It can be a pod. I don't care. Because one day you're going to be on this show. And I'm going to ask about it. And it's going to be captivating. And there's going to be no recording. I'm going to be pissed off.
You're gonna be even more mad because we started another one before that one too, where we did Strixhaven. We did a Strixhaven one, and and that one had to do with the Nightmare King, so that one was pretty cool also. But that one that we thought about recording it, but we weren't sure because like what was gonna happen when we started the podcast because we'd have to backdate them. Yeah, we messed up on that one. We messed up pretty bad. I'm sorry. But the new one's good. The new one's great.
See, it's so much fun. Richard, next question. How did the idea come up? And without spoilers, how's it going so far?
The idea came about again with things that I really love.
Mm.
I really love Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Mass Effect's one of my favorite games of all time. So there's a little bit of Mass Effect in there. In the title, it's Astral Odyssey, of course, and the Iliad and the Odyssey is one of my favorite stories of all time. So there's a little bit of that, and then I'm also a big fan of. I'm forgetting names now. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of like the Sandman series. And the writer for the Sandman series, and is going to kill me because literally the other podcast I was completely glazing about how oh man I love all of his work, but I can't remember his name right now. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it was just kind of all of these ideas that came together, and I wanted a lot of diversity in setting, and that's why the astral space is just such a fun playground for any DM to play it because all of it exists. All of it exists in astral space.
Right.
So you can kind of play the multi-universe hopping, and then you can make every kind of like story arc can be a little bit different.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're doing now. Now that we've reached kind of like the main arc of it, we went from giant space battles with space whales to forests with creatures that suck the life out of you to now they're in this kind of like underground city that's under the crust of this planet, kind of Neo Tokyo style. And it all exists, and you can play with it, and it's just so much fun.
Okay, so you just said something, and I've never thought anyone else would say Neo the way you say it. Like, I know exactly what story you're thinking about, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So, it's going really well. I think that especially now that I've kind of figured out how to edit a little bit,
Being amazing.
because even the people that are in it, by the time I'm done editing it and I add everything to it, they're just like, oh no, I feel this now. Like I was there when it happened and I was there in the moment, but now with like the music and the sound effects, because I've been playing around with a little bit of like studio style sound effects, and they're like, yeah, this is different. This is different. It's almost better as like a viewing experience. It's amazing to be there, but I feel like with the effects that end up on it and the visuals, you as an audience get a different experience, which is just as good.
Right. Oh, that's amazing. So with the between the Dungeons and Dragons stuff and the podcast, um, what do you think? Let me back up a little bit. So,
Mhm.
how your friends are like, I'm not sure about this D&D stuff. We as people of color, black people of color, video games are easy. You can pick up a video game anytime. We tend to like go in 100%. For some reason, D&D is a place where we have like a little bit fear to step into. Why do you think that is? And what do you think the solution is into stepping out into role playing and the D&D world, TTRPGs?
I think that, because I don't want to generalize all of us.
Yes.
It's really hard because like I sometimes I do that and I don't want to. So I'm going to, but bear with me here. I don't. If it doesn't apply to you, that's fine.
Right.
But I think for me personally, and a lot of the people that I have played video games with, and people that I've gotten into D&D,
Mm.
there's not a lot of people that look like us
Right.
that are playing it, and it's also not really a mainstream thing.
Mm.
And like black people as a whole, we kind of dictate a lot of culture.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So like we're always seen as like the coolest people everywhere. Like we dress the best, we listen to the best music, we put out the best shit. Like we like so when we're not seeing a lot of like us in a space, we normally don't go into that space.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And like that's actually how I got into it because there were people that the first time I played D&D, I played at a friend's house. And it was kind of like after we had just hung out, he's like, "Hey man, like there's something that I think you'd really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's try playing D&D." And I had played, it was me and my wife, him and his wife, and then one other person. And we had played and like I didn't fully understand it. I'd like we made characters right there on the spot. I
Okay.
had no attachment to them. There was no kind of like session zero.
Right.
He kind of just played right off of module. And like I left and I was just like, okay, I see why people like that, but like I don't think that's for me. But then uh a couple years later, I was leaving work and there was just so happened to be like two other black people on my ship. One's name was Riley, the other's name was Prince. And Riley was like, "Hey man, we're gonna go get pizza and then we're gonna do session zero for a D&D campaign if you want to play." And I was like, "What? I tried it once, I didn't like it." Like that, he was like, "Listen, pizza, drinks, hang out for a little bit. We're gonna do some D&D stuff." And I was like, "Well, who's going?" And then it was like Prince and then a couple other people, and it was mostly black people too.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay. I was like, okay, like I'll give it another try. And I think it was kind of just like the comfortability of it, where I was just like, oh, there are other people like me that do
Okay.
this.
Okay.
And then he didn't play off of module. It was mostly homebrew things. And like a lot of the time when I was asking to do things, it wasn't a no. It was like a how do we work this into the D&D system?
Yeah.
And I think for new players, that's a big thing. Like I think if you go rules as written for a lot of new people, it's kind of hard.
Yes.
So like sometimes you gotta let them try to do the cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like most of the time the cool thing is gonna help the story.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the yes and
Yeah.
or yes,
It's the
tell me how.
yeah, it's the yes, but how do you want to do this?
Right.
And it's the
Exactly.
yeah, it's the maybe not this, but let's guide you closer to something that would work better. Like let's collaborate here. It is a collaborative story.
Hmm, hmm.
Like it's all collaborative storytelling when it comes to D&D. That's the fun part of it. Like yeah, like killing people with swords by rolling dice is cool and all, but you're really here for the story. You're here for the
Right.
storytelling.
Right. And that's usually what I think that everyone tunes into. So TTRPG streaming, specifically D&D,
Mhm.
is growing this large following on TikTok. Um, and my YouTube, to some extent, but mostly on TikTok, I see a lot of TTRPGs. Like I guess previously you mentioned historically Black Dice. We have Batty Bards. The Player's Keep is one of my favorites as well. What do you
Two
think?
black halflings.
Three black halflings. All of them, they're amazing. I get these people on the show. What do you think of the burgeoning popularity, and do you think it will change the way that TTRPG, specifically Dungeons and Dragons, played and presented?
I think that over the years, it's kind of been moved into more of like the mainstream media.
Hmm.
And then like kind of the nerdification of the internet has also helped because like with the internet, a bunch of people that liked really specific shit found community, and then all of a sudden it was cool to watch anime. Like, whoa, used to be, motherfucker. I've been lame for a while.
Like hold up, like I've been reading manga and stuff. Like, what do you mean it's cool now? Like.
Yeah, and I feel like as the internet has grown and community has kind of taken over, and like the judgmental nature of like video games and certain types of media has like come about, it's kind of like everyone's kind of taken a step back and gone, man, what's fun?
Right.
What's fun to do? What's fun to play? And like what's fun to watch? And like I love a lot of it. Like Three Black Halflings, NADPOD, Dimension 20, Critical Role, and that show that the Vox Machina show on Amazon has done a lot of heavy lifting for that.
Yep. Yep.
Um, the movie Baldur's Gate 3, like there's been a lot of Dungeons and Dragons media, and I feel like all of those things have kind of just gotten people interested, and then they just started asking around, like, "Hey, you know anything about this Dungeons and Dragons thing?" And then those of us that play are just sitting here like, "Yeah, I think I know a thing or two."
It's like my previous guest said before. It's like give a nerd an excuse to teach you D&D or anything that they are hyper focused on, and we are going all in. It's like, you want to learn D&D? I got you.
It's like, wait, don't move. I'll go get the books.
Don't change it. I got D&D beyond. I got the papers.
I have so many dice at home.
Which is true. I have so much dice, and I mean, there's so much stuff in here.
Uh,
Yeah, so much. Um, so with the slow death of Hollywood and the music industry, but specifically Hollywood,
yeah.
do you think that games like D&D, podcasts like yours, or Three Black Halflings, or I don't know, Dimension 20,
Well,
are going to be taking over people's entertainment?
um, I think so. I feel like they've carved out a niche where, because like nobody knew how big the Joe Rogan podcast was until you realized how big it was.
Right.
And then like the same thing with like for music, like the Joe Button podcast, and then like for video games, like IGN Unlocked and with stuff like that. Like nobody knows how big these spaces are until you like look at it as a whole.
Right.
Because like the ability to keep somebody's attention for an hour, 2 hours plus nowadays is a lost art, especially with all this like really fast like media, TikTok, YouTube shorts. Like it's cool to keep somebody's attention for 60 seconds, but can you keep it for an hour?
Right.
Can you keep it for 2 hours? Like
Mhm.
people with the ability to do that are really starting to get these really big checks.
Okay.
And it's for a reason because they're keeping people on those platforms for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise, like all these shorts might keep you for like 30 minutes, or if you're doom scrolling in the middle of the night, maybe like an hour or two. But like if you can consistently get somebody to come back and view your content for that long, I feel like there's a huge future in that.
Right. Right. Okay.
Like it's you're getting somebody to watch the length of a movie every 2 weeks at this,
Right.
you know, whenever they come out.
Yeah. Which is actually pretty weird. In a weird,
It's crazy when you think about it, isn't it?
weird. Like, I'm always fascinated when, like, I go on, like, back on my VOD or something, or my YouTube channel. I'm like, people actually, you're watching this again? Okay. Thank you.
And they stayed here and they rocked with you for like
Yeah.
the hour or 2 hours that you streamed.
Right.
And then they probably told somebody else about it and they went back and watched the VOD. Like I feel like podcasts are filling a niche for like radio shows
Yeah.
and things like that where there was like a gap.
Right.
And like podcasting is a really big thing now. Like everybody and their mom has a podcast. Like
Yeah.
literally everybody and their mom has a podcast. So like as the market has become more saturated, there's also more things to watch. So I feel like people at the bottom will not get as much money, but the people at the top, it's going to be ridiculous. Those checks are going to be huge.
Right, right. So is there a plan for Chili and the Party to be like a full-time endeavor where you guys pay yourselves like a living wage somewhere down the line, speaking of big checks? Because look, I watch your stuff. I go on the podcast and I'm like I said, I have whole arguments with like the guys obviously don't hear me, but like I have full arguments about
But
something,
that's what we want. Like whenever somebody's talking about something that they're passionate about, like you can feel the passion in what they're talking about, and it makes you want to be a part of the conversation.
right, right.
So, but that's not the question you asked.
You want this to be a full-time endeavor, like chilling the party, like people go, oh, my show's on, I gotta watch chilling the party, or oh, I gotta
That would
watch
be
that's the Durags right now.
that would be amazing. I would love that. And one day, if that does happen, that'd be absolutely incredible. But for right now, short-term goals, somebody send me some fucking dice. Um,
He like, send me some dice. I need more dice.
that was a half joke. That was a joke, but I would love.
Like I'm only partially kidding. Like
I'm
always,
partially kidding.
always send me stuff. I have a PO box. So um, you talked earlier about that you are in the military. So how do you balance this whole thing with podcasting, doing D&D sessions, and like actual adulting? Because you are in a demanding field. You are in the military where they kind of will like call you, but like, listen, you don't have time for podcasting. Let's go.
Um, you do what you can. To be honest with you, the group chat, whenever it comes to what are we doing, what are we recording, uh, rough.
He's a rough.
Like, yeah, it's rough. But like, I've kind of like, cause I put a lot of like the things in place in the beginning, and now I'm starting to kind of take a step back and let other people kind of take care of like certain things.
Okay, okay,
So that way, if there is an instance where I can't be there, it can still keep going.
good.
And yeah, I would love to be there for all of them, but sometimes that's not super realistic. And if this does start to become like a bigger thing, there are going to be kind of like people are going to expect these things.
Yes, yeah,
Like you can expect a critical role every Thursday.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So like we've talked about these things and then we're starting to implement them. But yeah, no, it's hard. Like I got three jobs. I have my regular job. I'm a parent and a husband, so it's really four jobs. And then this, and which my wife is extremely supportive and she's amazing about it.
That's
So
awesome. That's awesome. So you talked earlier about how when you first played D&D, that it was kind of like, oh, this is fun, but not my bag. Um, but a group of other friends who, kind of like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like, got you into it. With the podcast, specifically, being as you were a group of friends that came together, did you have to endure or encounter any obstacles when you first started recording?
yes, definitely. Um audio issues, video issues.
Mm.
Um Thankfully we had the wherewithal to not record a D&D session until we had the regular podcast figured
Okay,
out.
okay.
Because there is at least three episodes on the cutting room floor that no one will ever see.
Really?
Yeah, three full episodes that I didn't know something was wrong until it was over. There's a
Okay.
one shot in the cutting room floor too.
Yeah, no one will ever see.
There's a one shot fully recorded
Hmm.
where it was I did like a alien style like exploring the Nostromo kind of horror one shot that no one is ever gonna see because audio issues and video issues.
When that happens, it's so bad. It's one of those moments you're just like, I am so done with this.
And like I want it like at one point it'll be like one person, hey, that's my wife in the chat. But yeah, it's one of those things where like because I want to be upset about it, but at the same time Like I am so lucky to have the group of personalities that I do have,
Right.
and we can make more stuff.
Right.
We can 100% make more stuff. But like every now and then, I'm like, oh, that one was really good.
You ever come across a time where you're in the middle of streaming, you're like, this isn't working, we need to stop now.
um, no, yes, yes. There was one episode
Hmm.
where I thought I could salvage it if we stopped it, and then we restarted it. But then that hard cut, the energy shifted, and I was just like, this isn't a cohesive thing
Yeah.
anymore. Like everything I put out, I want it to be a good representation of what we bring when we're together. I
Right.
would rather skip a week of uploading than put something out there because that could be the first thing somebody sees.
Right. Right.
So like I want to make sure that like just in case like they started episode 4 or they started episode 8. Like all of it is like a good representation of what to expect.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. What do you think the future looks like for intersectionality in the gaming and TTRPG community?
Ooh, I'm not a smart man. You gotta break that down for me. I think I know what you're talking, but I didn't go to college.
I cannot. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about your podcast. Because there are moments like this specifically where you're like, I have no idea. Like, and all of you do this. Every single one of you guys do this. Like, be like, I don't know what you mean. Like, what?
It's an honest reaction, and instead of going like, "Yeah, let me not answer this question properly because I think I know what I'm talking about," because there's probably somebody in the chat that's like, "Where's she going with this?"
Like, what the hell? So, when you say intersectionality, I mean that not only is a person of color, but in a space where there's predominantly cis het white men, but also as someone who is a father or someone, or for NYC girl, someone who is a black woman in the space. What do you think that looks like in gaming community for the future?
I think that uh, how do I answer this? Because there's a lot of people in the spaces that I really enjoy their content, and they are people of color or women or in some case like non-binaries and things like that.
Mhm.
And like I think that I'm of the opinion that if you're good at something, you should be given the opportunity to showcase that skill or that talent or whatever that is. And there's been a lot of times where I don't know something about, like, I'll watch a YouTube video where I have no idea what that YouTube video is about, but you can tell by how passionate that person is.
Yeah,
And like, I'm just like, all right, you've caught my attention for 10 minutes. I may never look up that thing ever again,
right.
but that person's passion about what it is has captured my attention long enough to stay there. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of
Mhm.
differing opinions because whenever there's a lot of one type of person or one group of people, it becomes like an echo chamber and there's not a lot of different opinions. So you might be watching it like, man, I really like this subject or this thing. Like, like for example, like I might really like Call of Duty,
Mhm.
but Call of Duty has become a very negative echo chamber of like,
Yeah.
this sucks, I hate this. Like, if you're not rocking the best loadouts in the game, what are you
Yeah.
playing for?
Like,
Like,
some train would get good. No. I'll
not
play Call of Duty a long
everybody.
time ago.
Oh no, I still play all the time.
I can't handle it. I can't handle it because as soon as I turn my mic on and I hear my voice, here it comes. Oh,
We're
shit! Like, oh my God, shut up! Like,
we're in the party chat. Don't worry about that. Listen, you have an open invitation if you ever want to play Call of Duty.
also,
1,000%. We do this thing. We're gonna do a Halloween one, but we do this thing. It's in private match, but it's kind of like hide and go seek. We call it Mike.
mhm. Okay. Oh, nice.
And we recorded one the other day, and I'm still going through it to make sure that there's no problems with it. I'm gonna put that out eventually. But it's really, really fun. It's really, really fun. Like you can
Raiders.
stuff.
Hello, Raiders. Thank you for coming in. And look, it's my bestest friends. it's Book Ruffle Cartoons. So guys, if you love my artwork that's on my page, you like my overlay, you like all my little emotes, Book Ruffle Cartoons is the person that does it, and I cannot wait to hang out with them at PAX Australia in 14 days. Yes, we're doing that.
Ooh,
I am. I hate flying. It's because I love it. This is why I'm coming. Anyway, but thank you guys for coming.
it's a big sacrifice.
It's a big health. Thank you. Look, it's a big sacrifice. But yeah,
Out of your comfort zone for you out there, you specifically, like right there.
exactly. Thank you. But please, guys, check out Book Ruffle Cartoons because amazing person. Book, type in a shout out for you. You know, I mean, rephrase it. Haley, can you shout out Book, please? Because he's not going to do it. So, but here is my favorite topic.
Ooh,
Because I believe that criticism comes with betterment and that you can only better yourself through criticism. That being said, do you agree with Whistle the Coast's direction? They have brought out the new PHB. They have
it's
changed classes. They have done some things. They have revamped D&D Beyond. They have since backpedaled with OGL. What do you think of the direction that they go? And do you think it has been a mistake? And if you were in charge there, what would you have done different?
I think that with the new player rules, because I'm actually still reading through that right now. I'm still making characters in it, still trying to like kind of like simulate what it would be like to play in it. And like they did an interview where they pretty much said that they wanted to incorporate a lot of the things that people are already doing
Mm-hmm.
into the rule set,
Okay.
which is cool. That's cool and all, but we were going to do that anyway.
Right. Yeah.
We're drinking health potions on bonus actions, and you said it.
Yeah.
And like some of the stuff that they've done with making the ability for like paladins to be full casters, because that's my class right there. I'm a
Yeah.
paladin, if not anything else. But I think that there's a lot of good things, but there's also a lot of things that they've kind of dumbed down because they've kind of realized that like, oh, we can ride this wave right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like D&D is becoming a lot more mainstream. We can ride this wave. We can make things a little bit more user friendly. But whenever you do that, you risk harming your core base
Yeah.
of like harder core players, which in this case really doesn't make sense with that term. But I think that with the ability to continue using the like 2014 rules, that's going to make a lot of people happy. And the new rules are good, but some of them are a little like, um,
You be honest,
you,
because I'm being
you're,
honest.
you're constricting the fun a little bit. Like you're really constricting the
Yeah.
fun. And like what they did with like the new classes, like some of them are pretty cool, but then other ones, I'm like, I feel like especially with rogues, it's like I feel like you're doing a little bit more harm than good.
I feel like they're doing more. I agree. I think they're doing more harm than good.
Especially with rogues, because that was one of the first characters I tried to make with the new system, and I'm just like, this doesn't hit as hard. I can't
Yeah.
make this hit as hard. I
I've tried.
I'm like, and now I have to pick between like certain abilities that I would have had anyway.
Right. Right.
And I'm just like, is it easier to play for a new player? Yes, it is, because they've dumbed it down. But now you've taken abilities away from people that were pretty much using those exclusively.
Right.
It's like, and like the new Bard subclass, like the College of Dance, it doesn't work.
What are we
Like it.
doing? Like, I don't
Why would you give monk style fighting to a bard?
hard.
Because the first thing I thought, I was like, okay, a dancing bard, capoeira. I'm making Eddie from Tekken. I'm making Eddie from Tekken. It's gonna be dope. He's gonna be Eddie from Tekken. And I was like, I normally start my games around level 5. Level 5 Eddie from Tekken. I have one attack.
Yeah. It's awful.
What am I
Awful.
doing? What am I doing? Like,
Or
this
my
isn't
favorite
fighting
rant
people.
about is the barbarians ability to revive people. Like why are we giving barbarians the ability to revive people? Like why are we doing that? or they're I can't think of the name right now, but at level 11, I think they changed it from 13 to 11, where the barbarian now, when they get hit, relentless rage.
Oh yeah,
Okay, so they get hit down to 0 hit points, they pop up for one. That doesn't
yeah.
happen anymore. Now you pop back up to twice your current level. So if you're at level 11, you're popping back up to 22 hit points. And that takes away, for me, the whole point of Relentless Rage was it's a great role playing tool.
It's
One.
it's like that Dragon Ball Z moment where like Goku gets blasted into the earth and you think he's done, and then all of a sudden he just shoots a ki blast straight through the smoke. Like,
Right.
it takes that away.
It takes it
I'm
away.
like,
It takes it away. So now it's like, this not fun. I mean, look.
the rest of my campaign will be played in 2014 rules. I
Okay.
already told them that. That's not. I'm like, for your sake, it's going to be 2014 rule.
Look, for everyone involved, it's better that we stay in 2014. I understand, like, there are some things I think are pretty cool. They changed True Strike, fucking finally. Um,
I hate True Strike.
everyone hates True Strike.
As a DM, I hate True
It,
Strike.
it,
As a player, I'm indifferent about it. But as a DM,
it's the dumbest.
King Arthur, he's in the chat and he's gonna hear this. And hey, King Arthur, right here, buddy, right here. And he knows why, because he played a monk in our first campaign,
Oh,
and just every time, like on a, yeah, I'm gonna use True Strike. Tell me everything about this.
right.
Yeah, I don't want to. Well, because like I take fun out of it. I'm like, okay, you know all of these things, right? You did it. You know all of these things. Now what?
Yeah. Now what? Exactly. Like, okay, so now where we're going with
I'm just
this?
taking the fun out of it. Like, what happened to like you would find much more enjoyment if you didn't know that this thing had a fire vulnerability, and then you just threw a Hail Mary fireball, and I'm like, double it.
Right. Right. But now
Like,
you know, so okay, your fireball hit for like 2 damage. Go away.
like it's like okay, I'm like it's like okay, you figured it out. You know this thing. You did it. Now you have ruined my cinematic reveal. You did it. You've now made the game significantly less fun. Bravo, you did it. Good job. Good. The rest of us would like some theatrics.
Well, apparently they've changed. I've yet to read the new True Strike. They've changed it apparently. It's supposed to be way more fun. I don't know what it entails. I will not be using the 2024 rules, but I am leaving myself open to deciding where it's going to go and when the monster manual comes out. Because it seems like a lot of the characters and classes are weirdly overpowered. But if the monster manual comes out and everything's overpowered in there, then we're good.
Well, the thing, the monster manual that I find really interesting, because they released another book. I think it was like Run Humans Run or something like that, where it was like a revamp of all of the systems.
Mm-hmm.
What was the title of that book? Because it came out semi recently, and the way that they did the shakeup with that is they added a lot more things for when it comes to like group encounters for like if there's like a bunch of small monsters, and it's like it gave you new optional rules to use. So give me 1 second. But like it gave you a lot more new options to use. And I feel like when they described the monster manual, if you already had this book, it's not gonna do a lot for you.
Right.
Because that book already gave you what was it? Flee Mortals Flee.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because that one's all about like adding new abilities to monsters, giving monsters kind of pseudo legendary
Right.
actions whenever they're in a pack or in a group. So like it was to make your encounters more cinematic.
Okay. Okay.
And I feel like that's what they're trying to do with the new monster manual, but you kind of already did it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't
I
I
don't know.
don't
I don't know what to think about. Well, if you were in charge over at Wizards of the Coast, if you were the CEO there tomorrow, what would you change and what would you do differently?
what would I change? Um I think D&D Beyond is doing a lot for a lot of people.
Mm.
And how do I say this without sounding like a douche? Um, if the barrier to entry for D&D was for me to read a book, a
Hmm.
physical book, and flip through a physical book, I'll see you the fuck later. What is me about this? I could
I
not.
mean, it's shit. Like,
You want me to flip through pages?
like what is this? 2001? What do you mean?
Oh, dork alert. No way, dude. Not happening. But I think D&D Beyond has done a lot for lazier people like myself, where I don't have to put through a book. Well, now that I'm really into D&D, I can read through the books and I can like pick out things that I want and things like that. But for a new player, those books are extremely intimidating.
Yes.
So the way that they break it down with when you buy the book, you see all of the abilities they end up in the spell list and the monster list. Everything's broken down Barney style. I love that. That's great. I feel like that's the best onboarding thing that they've done so far. Um, things that I don't, things that I would change. Um, there's not a lot that I would change, but there's things that I would speed up.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like the virtual tabletop, if executed properly,
Hmm.
emphasis on properly, that could do a lot with bridging that gap from video game players to tabletop RPG players. Because a lot of people don't have the luxury of playing in person, and then you can give that feel of playing in person, but you really can't because like playing in person,
No,
there's
it's
nothing
nothing
like it.
like
It's
it.
a great experience.
There's nothing
Uh,
like it.
It's so fun. I would recommend that everyone's first time playing D&D should be in person if
Yes.
you can afford the luxury.
If you can afford the luxury, definitely make sure you're at a table. This is
Pizza,
the pizza.
couple drinks.
Yeah, it's just like being absolutely ridiculous, massive amounts of food that you're probably never going to finish. And
Yeah,
and being there going and looking up and go, what the fuck? It's 1 o'clock in the morning. How is it 1 o'clock?
yeah. Clear the afternoon. Clear it completely.
Right, right. Because that it always starts like we'll start at 6, and then next you're like it's the middle of the night. Oh, it's like,
It's like we're gonna start at 6. It's like okay, I'll be there at 6:30. It's now all of a sudden at 7:30. We're just starting. By the time we get into like previously ons or like or somebody's like, hey, I completely forgot how this works. Like, what button am I supposed to press?
right.
If
Or
if
what?
you could see how many, if you could see how much of wait, what was that? What button is it? If you knew how many of those I cut out for your viewing pleasure,
Wait, what do I click? How do I roll dice on it? Like, stop saying that.
I hate to say it, but Terry's old. Lighting down is old. He forgets. He, every game, every game. Sometimes they're only like 2 weeks apart. Like we did back to back, and they're only like 2 weeks apart.
Mhm.
And each 2 weeks, he forgot what buttons to press, and he's just like, "Yeah, I want to do this. Maybe what button? Hey, man, I forgot." Completely falls out of character. They're just, hey, time out.
You can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna be the vengeance that is mine, and I'm gonna bring down the what we press it? Which one is it?
It really just takes all of the air out of the moment.
Um, if you invented magic in D&D and TTRPGs, how would it be different? How would you make it better?
Um, how would I make it better? I feel like I'm in the camp of give the people the things. I really am. I I think as a DM, it's your job to rein in the fun, but it's not your job to take it away.
Okay,
So
okay,
if magic is the cool shit,
right.
give more cool shit. So like I think that the amount of magic that you're able to use now, when you get up to higher levels, it gets okay, it gets a lot better
Mhm.
because there's kind of like a you can't cast all your spells at 10, like you shouldn't be able to. But
Right.
like I think that for lower level magic and certain things, I feel like they could really intertwine that better into more of the fighting system.
Okay.
That way, you you can get two sword swipes in one attack. Why can't I get two cantrips?
Okay. Okay.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
like
true.
giving two cantrips is broken.
Right.
And then like it really you can really double down on magic at that point because then like you get two cantrips, you can make it pretty cinematic. Like, all
Right.
right, I got lightning in one hand, fire in the other hand.
Mm,
I press my hand on the ground, I do like a thunderclap type thing. It brushes him back. Then when he's in that group, I cast like a firebolt. Or in some cases, like you could do like, oh, I'm going to push them back with the thunder wave, and then I'm going to cast like stink cloud, and now they're all in one area. Like it would really open it up to some really cool shit.
right. Oh my God. We gotta talk some. So if I already know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Mini collection or dice goblin?
I don't have any minis. I am a dice goblin all the way. I don't have any minis. Um, I don't. I just I have a problem with like collecting a bunch of small things. I have over 200 Funko Pops. My wife is in the chat right now. She'll tell you it it gets really out of hand with me. Like I have a bunch of dice,
Oh
so
boy.
at least the dice are manageable. At least-
Because there are times I have been around my house, I'm like, why is there a D12 in the middle of the hallway? You know, like I don't
um,
understand.
well, they're manageable space flies. They're
True,
smaller.
true, true. I mean, look, they
They're
collect
smaller.
all types of things, not just like dice. So that question doesn't apply to me. Yes, huzzah for dice goblin. So, what advice would you give someone that would like to emulate what you're doing in the social media space, specifically chilling in the party podcast?
I think that it's the whole thing came so naturally. And like we were very lucky to have the amount of personality and just like the funniness and the cohesion that
Yeah.
we've had. And that really translates pretty well on camera.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's also a willingness for those people to be recorded. And like some people lose that whenever the recording turns on.
Yeah.
And that's no fault of their own. Like not everybody is meant to be in front of the camera. Some people don't want to be. And yeah, that's completely fine. And I think like gauging the comfortability of your group to record something or to be like, hey, how okay are you with this if we took our game and showed it to a bunch of strangers? That's pretty much what you're doing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And I think like it's a lot of pressure on the DM, but like if you zoom back a little bit, like that's a lot of pressure on your players.
Yeah.
How comfortable are they going to be being in character?
Right.
Like, are you going to lose some of that? Do you want to lose some of that?
Mm.
Like, those are things you got to think about.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Some people are cool being themselves on camera, but then like, can you be somebody else that may be a little bit embarrassing? Like maybe your character has like a weird British accent. Do you think you can?
Can you do
You're
it?
cool with people seeing you do
Hold on. Can you do the Valley Girl? You
that?
know,
Yeah, like
you know.
like can you be the dumb barbarian and be it 100% the way you would do it if you weren't being recorded? If the answer is yes, 100% go for it. If the answer is no, maybe that's not something you guys should be doing, or maybe do an audio only.
Well, that leans in then to the current discourse on TikTok in the TTRPG community about not every table game should be an actual play. Um,
Yeah.
do you think that is gatekeeping, or do you think that is actually really good advice um, for people who are looking to become, the next, I don't know, Dimension 20, which is unlikely, by the way. You know,
I could never be Brennan Lee Mulligan. I can't do it. Like he's just too goddamn good.
hold
Um,
on. Sorry, my cat's kind of knocked down the ring light because, why not?
yeah. Like I don't think that I could be the next Brendan Lee Mulligan or a Bria Ironguard or uh, any of those amazing DMs, but I know that I can do the things that I do.
Right.
And I can also take inspiration from them in the way that they do things. Because I love the way that Bria Ironguard does horror.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way that she can take simple things and by describing them and bringing them into your mind can make you kind of feel them. And she's really, really good at that. And the way Brendan Lee Mulligan can create like NPCs that make you feel something, and they're not just quest givers. Like I think that that's amazing, and I feel like if like you could learn something from that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like you borrow, steal, take, like from where and develop your own style of doing them. So, but I also agree with not every home game should be a recorded kind of like actual play because not that not everything is as cinematic and as like cool and kind of like you have to be able to keep somebody's attention if you're going to do
Right.
an actual play that's going to be recorded for people to see because you're recording for people to watch it.
Right.
And if you do an actual play where it's just like your home game and you guys have been doing the same home game for years and like you stayed in the same dungeon for like 2, 3 months, kind of rough to watch. It's kind of rough to
I was
watch.
gonna sit for 2 hours and watch you, freaking
But
grind a dungeon. You know.
yeah, and like it's cool, and that's what you guys are doing, and you guys really enjoy that, and that's the point. Like D&D is for you and your table.
Right.
Like you should really like as a DM, you kind of have to play to your table, like because you want to entertain those people at your table. You know these people, you know what they like, you know what they don't like. I play to my players' triggers all the time,
Ooh,
all
okay.
the time, and I've I've gotten some really, really strong reactions sometimes. And that's what I want. I want those really strong reactions because that means that I've pulled you into that world.
Right.
It means that I made you feel like you were there. And that was the goal of it. Like I've made NYC girl. I made her cry on accident.
Oh
I terrified the shit out of her on accident.
no.
I've made I've made Lightning Brown physically angry one time. And I didn't even do it. And like and that's what I want. I want that immersive experience. And like that translates well to camera. And that's also the way I DM. I don't do campaigns that are longer than maybe like 10, 15 seconds.
Okay.
And that's like it's selfish in the fact that it's kind of like me because I like to keep things entertaining. And I know that my attention span isn't that long.
Hmm.
So like mine are like maybe 10, 15 sessions and then we'll go do something else. Or we'll go um or like we'll do like a different side campaign that's like maybe like a one shot that really turns into like a 3 shot because
Right.
one shots are hard.
Yeah, very few people who are really good at doing one shots. Neil Solgard's really, he's one of those people who's like really good at doing a one shot and that's it. But they're hard to do.
Yeah, what's his name? B-Day Walters. He's really good at it.
Yeah, yeah. So there's very few. There's very few. There's a few people who are like, this is gonna be two things. Listen, we're gonna be this is gonna be a second and third session just so we can get finish this timeline.
This is a series now. It's 10.
This series, just bear with me. Just bear with me.
But
So
yeah,
what regrets or mistakes do you have? Or have you had as a DM?
there's been several times where to the benefit of my players or sometimes to their detriment,
Hmm.
where like I will forget things. I'll forget that a creature is under Bane. I'll forget that maybe somebody had inspiration and they probably could have used it in that moment. Um, and I'll forget things on both sides for your benefit and to your harm. Um, let's see. I'm also there. The first campaign we did,
Hmm.
there was I completely forgot to tell Lightning that he couldn't cast a leveled spell and do an attack in the same round.
Right.
And he snuck it by me, and I just let him do it. And then he went to go do it again, and I was like, "Oh wait, you can't do that. I'm sorry, dude."
Okay.
And he was just like, "But why not? You let me do it before." And I was like, "For this campaign, I set the precedence.
You'd be like, well, first of all, let me explain something. I learned
I gotta live with it. You got to ask me. You did it. So like, I guess that just for don't do that. Don't try to sneak things past your DM and say you
right.
let me do it before. That's a dick move. You put him in a corner.
Like, don't
You
do
put him
that
in a
because if I
corner.
catch you, Listen.
I I will give you the moon and the stars themselves. Just don't try to fucking trick me.
What is the one of the most important life lessons you've learned, not only in doing this podcast but in gaming?
Uh, I've learned a lot of different perspectives, I guess,
Hmm.
because when you, especially like that's why I love RPGs because you get to put yourself in the shoes of somebody that you're not,
Right.
and you really get to experience life in a way that is kind of tailored towards that environment. And I really like that. And I feel like you can take a lot of things away from that type of storytelling. And I think that that's really, really dope. I think that that's like, that's the goal and that's what you were supposed to be doing. And they nailed it. And like, that's why I'm a big narrative guy.
Okay.
And I feel like I've learned like a couple different like perspectives, and then like sometimes like sometimes you watch an anime and you're just like, damn, that's a good pep talk. I need to go do some shit. Like you watch Blue Lock and you're just like, I need to learn how to play soccer.
It's like, like the first time I saw Independence Day and that speech he gives, like when he stands on top of the plane, and he's giving that whole speech, I was like, yeah, let's go fight. There's no alien Sam. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I was like,
Like it makes you want to go do some shit. You're like,
yeah, like
yeah,
I need to go shoot something. Like, okay, this is a movie, relax. Um,
yeah.
so I think sometimes that people think that you need to have like a personality trait or strength. Do you think there is a personality or trait or strength that you need to be in podcasting or to play D&D as an actual play?
Um, I would say no, just because there's a lot of variety in podcasting.
Mm,
And there's a lot like there's podcasts that I don't particularly enjoy, but there's a lot of people who watch them and they definitely do. So I think that if you can find your own niche, the internet is such a big place that you will find somebody else that feels the same way that you do.
right.
It just might take a little bit longer. And like I will say that like me personally, the way I do things is because it's the way that I want to do them, or I saw somebody like a Brennan Lee Mulligan or an Abria Ironguard do it, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. I want to try that.
Right.
So it's not like, well, I don't know how that translates to personality traits. I don't know. You have to have a certain comfortability with what you're doing.
Okay.
And if you don't, it will translate into like a rigid ability.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, like, the only thing that I would say it's not really like a personality trait, but you need to gain a level of comfortability with whatever you're doing. And I feel like as long as everybody that's a part of it is passionate about it and like wants to be there, then you got it.
Right. Right. Agreed. I think that's cool. So I've always believed this, and you've already touched on it a little bit earlier, but that people who are streaming or podcasting or content creators, um, they are multi-talented, undiscovered producers, directors, actors, editors. Um, where do you see yourselves in these roles that I've just said? And do you plan on expanding on any of them in the future? Um, I know you're not a big fan of editing, but do you plan on expanding on any of them in the future?
I every time we record a podcast or I start editing it, I feel like I learned a new trick.
Okay.
I feel like I learn a new thing or I gain a new perspective on how to do something. So I feel like the quality of the things that I'm doing is getting better.
Okay.
Do I enjoy doing it? No. It takes a really long time, but like it's that when you put the extra time into it and you don't just slap an intro and some music behind it and then like put it out there. I feel like you get in you get out what you put in.
Right.
So yeah. I think that well also in the party, Lightning Brown, Terry is an author. He's written 3 books.
Oh, okay. But
So
we gotta get this schedule together. Like, I need y'all. Like,
I'm
um,
telling you, I'm the personality here. I'm not. I have some amazing co-hosts. Like so like maybe one day, but because like sometimes we tell these stories and I'm like, man, that's a really good story. And it works in the form of a podcast. Maybe one day we could turn it into a book or like do something animated like what Critical Role is doing.
Hmm.
But I'm also extremely realistic in the fact of where I'm like, to work on the thing that's at hand, get better at what you're doing.
Right,
And
right.
then when these opportunities put themselves forth, then you decide as a group whether or not you're going to pursue them.
Gotcha, gotcha. So I always ask this question because I think it's very interesting, like insight into people's inspiration. But a lot of times someone will ask, who's your biggest influence? And someone will say some movie star or something. But the opposite of that for me is who's the biggest one of your biggest influence that no one's ever heard of, or who's middle you've heard of?
Um, for the regular podcast, um, I wouldn't say nobody's ever heard of him, but he's not like one of these like multi-million subscriber people.
Mm.
The Black Hokage. I've been
Okay.
following his content since I was like 14. I'm 27 now.
Okay.
So, and he's been doing similar content. His content has evolved as he's gotten older,
Mm.
but like he was a huge inspiration for the format of how we do podcasts.
Okay. Okay.
So he's a huge inspiration. D&D wise, I will say the same ones I've kind of been bringing up.
Yeah.
NADPod, um, Dimension 20,
Hmm.
Invitation to Party on G4.
Ooh,
When G4 did that comeback.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that one was actually really good. I wouldn't really consider that one an actual play because I feel like they were fudging it a little bit. But like
Okay.
B-Day Walters attached to a project on
Okay. So catch for rules. I already know the answer, so don't But rules is written a rule of cool.
there. Oh, cool.
Man, some people look. I've had guests on here who are like rules is written because, and I get it. You have to have a basis of something. You can't always have rule of cool, but you know.
I've said no before. I've probably said no on the podcast, but there's always like a no. It's either a no that's ridiculous, come on, you knew that was going to be a no, or it's like a no, but like, God damn, I love that idea. Let's break it down step by step. Like you want to zip line up the fucking mast of the boat by the rope, fucking jump down Assassin's Creed style, stab somebody. That's gonna be like three different roles, but we'll get there.
We'll figure
We
this
will
out. We will
get
figure
there.
this out.
That idea is way too cool not to use.
Okay, okay. So the other question is, do you prefer XP or milestone?
Milestone,
Of
milestone.
course, because why would
If I have to track all of the XP for every monster, everything's going to be a lot slower.
you? Yeah,
And then the planning of it, I can't just throw whatever I want in there. I can,
true.
that limits the amount of monsters you can throw in there.
Mhm.
It puts something in the back of your players' brains where, like, hey, how about instead of following the main quest, we take a left over here and see if there's like a spider I can step on? Like,
Right, right.
oh, no,
Let me grind out and level up over here before I go over to like the
no.
BBG. We're not doing that. So this is one of my favorite questions because it always gives people pause and it gives me a little bit of time and chat some time to like come up with questions. If you could DM or play with anyone or have a podcast with someone, dead or alive, real or fiction, who would it be? Up to 5 or 6 people.
5 or 6. Oh, and you know, I'm not very good with names right now.
I mean, dead or alive, real or fiction, though.
Real or fiction? Real or fiction? Most of them are alive. Can I split this up a little bit?
Sure,
Um, can I do like two groups of four?
sure, absolutely.
So the group that I would love to play a game with would definitely be um I love every time Brendan Lee Mulligan is a player in anything. He's so fucking funny.
Right.
Same thing with the Bria Iron Guard. Same thing with Erika Ishii
Hmm.
and Lou Wilson, definitely.
Okay.
So that would be my four for that. My other four, um, it's not really who I would like to play in a setting with. It's who I would let DM for me.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
Neil Gaiman, love everything. That's the name I couldn't remember earlier, and I hate myself. I'm a huge fan of everything he puts out.
Hmm.
Um, Neil Gaiman, H.P. Lovecraft, even though he is a terrible human being,
Yes.
but maybe
Yeah.
terrible human being, great monster maker. Um, Dirk Maggs, he does a lot of work with Neil Gaiman. He's done work with Neil Gaiman on the Sandman series, but he's also done a lot of work with the Alien series too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and then uh, is it Mark Miller? Is he the one who wrote The Boys? I think it's Mark Miller. He wrote The Boys, and he also wrote a couple different series. I love his take on like bad and good superheroes. I love.
Yes, I like the idea of that. I've read The Boys. I think it's back behind me somewhere in the plethora of old books that sit back there. In the meantime, since Chad has no questions, I'm going to ask some other things. One more thing. Tell everyone what we can expect from Clark the Man in the future, from Chilling in the Party in the future, and Dungeons and Durags. What can we expect going forward?
So, going forward, we're in the first story arc of Astral Odyssey right now.
Back up. Thank you. There was something I'm sitting here going, we're getting to so many different things. And we did talk briefly about Astral Art Odyssey, and you did
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about the story. But hang on a second. You left off, I might be behind, but there was a cliffhanger.
Oh, the elevator. Yeah.
Thank you. Um, what, why? Why are we leaving off on stuff like, why are we doing this? Like, okay, bring it down. It's okay. You cannot.
No,
Well,
I
let your
must.
audience
I
like this
must.
because
Because you'll
what
come back.
happens is yes, I'm coming back. I'm gonna come back. But what happens?
You come back.
I'm screaming at do you know what it's like to have your neighbors go, "What were you yelling at?" There wasn't a game on. Was there a football? No, there wasn't a football game. I was watching a D&D show. Like actual play. What's D&D? That's a thing. Like I live in Brooklyn, and he's like explaining D&D to people in Brooklyn. It's very difficult, especially
That's a hard one.
screaming.
That's a that's a hard one to do.
So you
Um,
why?
and I have to do that, and I have to do that for the reason of like you gotta come back. And then like if you leave everybody at a good place, that's how you get a sitcom. That's how you get like a Friends, or like that's how you get a Seinfeld. Like if we're recording a sitcom where everything's good at the end of the episode, and then we come back and it's another adventure, like that's not what we're doing here. Like, like I gotta leave you off at a bad place. I gotta leave you off at a place of like wonder of like what the fuck was that?
That's exactly what I said.
You gotta let your mind wander a little bit. I want you to guess what's gonna happen next. I don't like, and a lot of people that know me know that I do this a lot. When I can guess what's gonna happen next in a movie or a TV show or both, it drives me nuts
Right.
because I feel like the person that's writing this is so creative that I shouldn't be able to do that.
Hmm.
And sometimes when I watch a movie, I'm just like, yeah, this motherfucker ain't dying right here. That doesn't make sense story wise.
Right.
What are we gonna do for the next? There's still 45 minutes left in this. No, but yeah, I like to leave off on cliffhangers just because like it'll bring you back.
Just so you know, everyone, please check out our guest, um, for the for this reaction, alone. Check out it, and then don't
The player's reaction was exactly the same because like it's, the thing was is I don't, well, it's not really story spoilers as much because like you watch it for the whole thing, but like I there were two places that they could have took it because I wanted it to feel like they were in the story and they
Right.
weren't just doing the thing that I wanted them to do. So they could have traveled to anger or they could have traveled to fear.
Right.
And I fleshed out both of those worlds completely. I'm fully prepared for them to go to either one. because they'll have to go to all of them eventually. But I was like, I'll put out these two first because I feel like these two are the strongest.
Okay. Okay.
I really wanted them to go to Anger first, which is the one that they went to. And they did. And I didn't have to push them to do it. So as soon as they did, I was like, amazing, we're here. This is the one I wanted them to go to first because this one by far might be one of the strongest.
Right. Right.
And like the whole like underground city where the ceiling's made out of screens so it looks like it's the sky and everything's kind of like a mixture of like steampunk and cyberpunk because the magic is the steampunk aspect and then the cyberpunk is like this they have like a little bit more advanced technology and then leaving off with the cliffhanger of like this kind of like somebody who's like a little bit like kind of like cracked out and all of a sudden they have fangs and red eyes like it's like
It's nerve wracking. It is nerve wracking. It is nerve wracking. Okay. Because I'm like, wait, there's another episode until you know what?
That's the next thing we're recording. That's the next thing we're recording.
Hurry up. Hurry up.
Schedules. I'm sorry, but yeah, but yeah, this is the first. This was them stepping into the first story arc. Each one of the versions of Kalis is their own kind of arc in the story.
Okay.
So this is the first real story arc where they're going to be playing in this setting for a while, and I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited for it. There's a lot of really cool stuff. And I'm not going to go into spoiler territory, but there's some things that you should expect to happen. And I promise you that they will because you can't do, like, you can't have peanut butter without jelly. Like,
Yeah, you know what? Yes, kid.
so I'm going to do the thing, but it's not going to be in the way that you think it is.
Okay.
I promise you it will be cooler because I don't like when people do things that are easily expected.
It's super irritating. But
Yeah.
I'll get back to the other question. Though. What can we expect from Chilling in the Party? What can we expect from you personally and from Dungeons and Durags going forward?
So Dungeons and Durags are in the first story arc. After the first story arc, we're going to put up a poll about whether or not we do a mini series in between.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of do like a shake up, like a 3 to 5 session kind of mini campaign. So we'll put out feelers for that. If it turns out you guys just want us to go right into arc 2, it's fine. I'd love to do that. But I know that sometimes things get a little bit samey. So a little mid-season shake up is good. That's for Dungeons and Durags. That's the plan going forward. Chilling in the Party, we are still doing the podcast format. But we are going to start adventuring into getting the VODs from stream and then putting those VODs into the YouTube channel as kind of like let's plays or things like that. So we're dipping a toe into that. We recorded some gameplay for Skier Ritual, which is kind of like a Call of Duty Zombies inspired round based kind of like zombie shooter game, and it's very spooky. It's very Halloween. So that one will probably go out soon to kind of because it also gives people a little bit something like I love Call of Duty Zombies, and this is as close as you can get to Call of Duty Zombies without Activision being a part of it.
Right.
So it's like here's something to hold you over until the real Zombies comes out, like in October. So that one will probably go out soon. We have the last podcast ran long, so we split it.
Okay.
So you're actually going to get another regular podcast episode a lot sooner than you think.
Okay.
As soon as Sunday, worst case like Wednesday, that was going to be very anime. We talked a little bit about music. We talked about like the Kendrick Lamar halftime show, why people are upset about that. That one was on the heels of the last episode, and I was crashing out at the end of that last episode. So it just continues. So Crash Out Clark is very present, and
Crash Out Clark, it's hilarious, by the way, just so you guys know. It's the funniest thing.
I can't do two shots of espresso before the podcast anymore.
So what can we expect going forward between doing this and your full-time life?
Um, I'd stay as consistent as we can, but I'm also putting things into place where it can operate without me.
Okay. Okay.
So that's the goal right now is to continue doing things as we are and putting things out on a kind of like semi-normal basis because sometimes you get episodes sooner than others depending on when we can record. So we're trying to get things down to a more stable schedule.
Okay.
Um, that's the goal is to get things down to a more stable schedule to have content coming out. But also we want to make sure that what we're putting out is good, so we don't
Right.
want to just put shit out just kind of. So
Because gotcha. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much for this. I always ask my guests who are familiar with Twitch to guide the raid. But where are we raiding out to?
One time Tiffany's not streaming. Oh, God. Um,
Oh yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Don't.
I'm sorry. CB Gray. I watch him all the time. He does a lot of Destiny content.
Okay, she pop that name in chat. I mean, in the Discord that we've been using together. I'll grab that from you. And guys, as always, it's amazing. Thank you to our guest. Clark has been the best, funniest person here. Check out their podcast, Chilling in the Party, on TikTok and on YouTube, specifically on YouTube. And I'll tell you why. Because then you will be arguing with them, even though it's pre-recorded. You will be arguing with them the entire time because I've done it time and time again where I'm screaming at them, going, "What are you talking about?" That's
Argue,
sense.
argue, please, please argue. I love the arguments. I love the because that means you're watching and that means you're engaging with it. I love it. Good commentary, bad commentary. I love all of it. It's all invited.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you, Cookie Monster, for the 5 gifted subs to everyone. That was amazing. You did not, I did not cry. Usually I cry. Look, okay, so if you want to see like tears and like the whole thing, like, and I don't know why people do gifted subs or bits or something, and I don't know why it gives me like a little bit of anxiety and I start to cry. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. Don't know why. So, guys, stick around for the raid. We are going to over to CB Gray. I'm super excited.
Can I say a quick thank you real quick?
Absolutely.
I just want to say this is my first time doing an interview ever for anything.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for using your platform to try to shine some light on ours. I appreciate that a lot.
Oh, it's my
You were actually the first person to reach out, and I could not be more grateful for it. 100%. Thank you so much.
Okay, so apparently Clark's gonna try and take a page out of Cookie Monster Steam and try and make Sam cry. But guys, as always, it's better to be kind than to be nice. And if you can't be good, please be careful. I will see you tomorrow night around 8 o'clock or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be cool. I will see you there. Bye.